What's going on, guys? I'm Anthony James. These are my co-hosts Wesley and Manu, and this is another episode of No Guest List, the podcast where we unravel the biggest tracks, bring you breaking news, spotlight emerging artists, and delve into the latest releases, and just have the difficult conversations that need to be had in and around the scene. So consider us your Afro House insiders, dedicated to keeping you plugged in to the pulse of the genre. So to our regular listeners, thank you so much for listening. And if you're joining us again, thank you for that. If you happen to miss our last episode, no stress. You can catch up on Spotify, Apple Pods, YouTube, and your support means the world to us. So keep on tuning in. Subscribe if you can. We really appreciate it. And every time you hit subscribe, it allows us to continue delivering top tier podcasts and content to you guys. Don't forget to hit us up on social media as well at No Guest List OFC. How's that for an intro?
Bro, wow. I was just about to say that was phenomenal, man. That was
Oscar goes to
world class.
Hard work goes a long way, eh? Guys, it's good to link up again. It's been a little while since we last spoke, officially on the pod anyway. How's everything been going? Manu, you want to kick things off? What's new, bro?
No, I'm just gonna say, I think Wesley has got some apology and to do just because he wasn't missing last episode. So he's got some explaining to do for the listeners, bro. So Wesley,
I do,
what you gotta say, bro?
I do, man. Listen, I apologize first and foremost to you guys, and to the listeners. I know the podcast is nothing without me, so apologies for that.
You know how many people this episode was dead. Wes wasn't there. We wanted Wes was dead.
Sam called me after. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't really want to do it anymore because he didn't show up." You know?
He's like, "Come on, bro." No, it was a good episode though. It was a good conversation with Sam. Jokes aside.
It was. I actually really enjoyed listening after. What a guy, bro. That guy, like, I think one of the hardest workers in the scene, like behind the scenes. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
absolutely. So many producers and DJs reached out to me to say, wow, that really helped me. Now I can do this, do that. Never thought of doing this. So yeah, Sam, keep doing what you're doing, and please don't flood Sam with messages, and he's a very busy guy. You can go through us. Ask us first, and then we'll direct you, to the right person. But yeah, Sam, shout out to Sam.
Big time, bro. Big
time.
But yeah, what you guys been saying, man? What's been keeping you guys busy?
What's been keeping us busy? Yeah, lately there's a lot of side projects which obviously we can't talk about just yet, but busy times for everyone at the moment. I was in Rotterdam last week, played in Rotterdam with Roncito. Great event. Yeah, good venue, good crowd. A few people from Instagram, a few followers showed love. So yeah, it's great to see, man. Like, people that you chat to almost every day, gives feedback on your videos, podcasts, etc. When you go to their country, right? They show up, show love, and you get to connect. It's almost like surreal. So it was good to experience that. And it's only the start. Like I really want more. It's like one of those things where you get a taste, and then you just can't get enough. So hopefully, a lot more to come in terms of gigs and being kind of seen internationally. But yeah, man, shout out to everyone, man.
Big vibes. And congrats, bro, because there are big gigs that you're getting as well, man. To be playing in these types of places along on the lineups that you're on. It's a big vibe, man. A very big vibe. Wes, what about you, man? Like what's new?
What's new from my side? Yeah, I mean, likewise, got a lot of stuff that's cooking behind the scenes that I'm excited to eventually show everyone. But yeah, other than that, man, sometimes life gets in the way. We've all got, personal stuff going on. So that's the reason I couldn't make it last week. So yeah, finally feel like things have started to quiet down. So happy to be back, but yeah, really just focused on doubling down on everything this year for the scene, man. Like the conversations I've had with industry people, it just reassures me that what we're all working on together is really something special. So yeah, really just been focused on honing down, into our scene. But other than that, bro, been packing, getting ready. I'm going to Montreal this weekend on an invite from Tomer.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So Tomer owes me an apology. You think I should tell this story?
We can get
It's
him
a
on.
good
We can
story.
get him on. We can get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Easy.
Get him on the phone
So
now so he can tell his side as
Tomer.
well.
He will answer as
So
well. This guy answers like, yeah, he will answer.
he's like one of the most responsive people that I've met. And if you
Yeah,
don't
he's on it.
respond to his messages, he keeps like sending you more messages.
I love it, man.
Yeah, so gonna link up with Tomer. He's playing a couple sets in Montreal this weekend. Yeah, we met up in Miami. He invited me to his show, but he didn't know I was there. And then texted me the next day, being like, "Where were you?" So yeah, we're gonna go
And
have
you were
stuff
like,
out.
dude, we had 3 beers together.
Bro, we took a picture together, and he didn't know it was me.
Oh my
Wait, did you
goodness,
actually?
these guys.
I did.
Took a
So
picture of
he
you.
texted me the next day. He's like, "Yo, bro, I didn't see you." So I responded to him and said, "I saw you," and I sent him the picture of us two, bro.
This guy, bro.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, bro.
Oh
It
man.
was a good time. It was a good time. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. AJ, bro, tell us, man, what's been
I
going on?
mean, on the topic of random candid meetings, I told you guys this the other day, but it was quite funny. I was listening to my most recent radio show, and the track that was playing was Francis's track. And in my head, I was like, I need to link up with this dude. I've not seen him since Sandra Pale. We've not even really spoken much. And just so randomly, like I didn't know he was in London or anything. I was driving through King's Cross, and on the side of the street, I saw this dude talking to 2 guys, and I had to pull the car over. I don't know what came over me, man. Like we have this thing called red routes in the UK where you are not allowed to stop. You will get a fine immediately. I just pulled up on the red route, cars behind me beeping the horns. I was like, "Yo, Francis." So yeah, man, it was a funny story, funny candid meeting. But other than that, what have I been doing? Myself and Bartella just launched our new party called Indigenous. Well, we've been doing it for a while, but now it's officially got a name, which is exciting.
Congrats,
So we've got
man.
2 events. Thank you, man. We've got 2 events coming up for that, 4th and 11th of May. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks. And then other than that, I've just been busy in the studio. Audio therapy's running well now, so I can sort of let that grow by itself for a bit. And I've been busy in the studio making some tracks, which I previewed one of them on my socials, and it got a bit of love. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, feeling nice about that, man.
People are not ready for you, man. People are not ready for you. Like some of the stuff that you sent us as well. I was like, okay. I didn't know you had that in it. Okay. I was like, all right.
Secretly cooking, man.
Let's go.
Do you know what? In
I like
truth, I think all the conversations that we have about music and genres and what you want to make and everything have all played a very, very important role in the fact that I've, one, not released anything yet, and 2, the fact that I really want to get a nuanced sound and like pay respect and homage to the genre and not just release anything and say, "Hey, that will do." Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
But I mean,
sure.
that's what it's all about, bro. Like, when you're in the scene for long enough, like that's really all people want is they just want the quality and the authenticity, and
yeah.
you've got it, bro. I'm
Thank
excited
you, man.
for you to release, man. I think you're gonna do well.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Fingers crossed.
No, you
So
will,
in
man. You
other
will. And of
news,
course,
oh, go on,
I'll
go
go
on,
on,
bro.
bro. No,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, use myself and Wesley, to push your stuff as well, because obviously we're here for a
I
reason.
appreciate that, man,
You
and I
know,
will be. I've sent you
Yeah,
my
yeah. I
stuff.
was
You
gonna
know
say,
what's
like, come on
coming.
now.
so
In other news, let's fast or jump back a little bit. I think this is something that a lot of people are talking about, and we have to talk about as well. Kind of music playing at the pyramids of Giza looked incredible. What did you guys think?
I agree. I agree. Look, like, as you guys, or for all you regular listeners, I have some some varied opinions about those three guys, but as a pure production and just creativity, I think that show was something special. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
The
it's one of those
drone
things where
thing.
you're like, yeah, exactly. Like you felt like you missed out. You had to be there. You're like, you know, if you're an aspiring DJ, aspiring performer, that is the type of kind of level you want to get to. And it's also like shows you what can be done because I've never seen that before, right? So it's like, wow, that is a new level. That is a new stage, and I think it's going to motivate a lot of people and show also what's possible. But yeah, those guys every time they just keep pushing the envelope and just just rewriting. I don't want to say history. That sounds a bit corny, but you know what I mean. They're
Yeah,
doing
but
big,
it,
man. They're
they
doing big.
they they kind of are, right. And something that I admire about their production value is that they've taken like kind of a new route on what a live performance can look like. I mean, there's so many other genres, especially in the melodic techno afterlife. They go hard with the visuals, and a bunch of other guys like in other subgenres of house music. But those guys starting off with what they did at Brooklyn Mirage with, I don't know if you guys saw, it was like a massive peace sign that was a cloud, and it
Yeah,
would
Yeah.
rotate.
yeah.
And then now with what they did in Egypt with the drone show, I just think like super props to them that they're not like, oh, next step is visuals and we have to do Afterlife or Eric Prydz and all that kind of stuff.
No, they're killing it. Man. The only person who I've ever seen do a drone show like that was the Queen of England when she had her Jubilee. And the fact that these guys are doing it, like, kind of money you have to make that thing happen. And that's crazy
Yeah.
to me. So props to them, first of all. And secondly, maybe they're positioning themselves as, I'm not going to say Afro House, but like electronic music royalty at this point, because that's big. That's a very big
They're
thing to
number
be
one,
doing.
man. They're number one.
Yeah, I mean they're up there with the royal family, bro. That's
Guys, I think we should have a conversation one day, not today, but to me right now. But even like, just think about when they have a show, how many pages do you see rip their videos and post their videos? It's like all over social media. To me, that I've never seen that before.
not on that scale, man.
Didn't
It's
you get
crazy.
memes?
I've
It's like,
never seen that
Wes?
before.
Someone made a
huh?
meme of you about exactly that. All the amount of pages posting kind of music.
Yeah, bro.
Are
They
we
were
gonna give
like
a shout
comment
out
like
to
all
Afro
these.
House memes or?
Yeah, Afro House memes made I mean, shout out to those guys also. But yeah, they made a meme that I
You and many
run to go and
others.
get kind of music content, which if you know my content, I don't post those guys too frequently. But it's crazy, bro. It's like within 8 hours of the performance, people are like rushing. Who's gonna post first? Who's gonna get it? And then for the next 7 days, like your whole feed is just the guys.
Kind of, because you know what it is as well though. When they like, look, we spoke about this on a pod a little while ago about people having their phones out and not enjoying the moment. But honestly, that thing that they did with the drones was so spectacular. I cannot blame that every single person in the crowd for filming that. And there's a picture on their page, on the kind of music page that they uploaded, and it is literally every single person's phone in the air at that moment when that kind of music logo appeared in the sky. So of course it's going to be everywhere. There's enough footage there for every single person to have their own individual post about the kind of music show Kisa.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's the
Yeah.
way that it is with these kind of shows that implement a visual aspect. It's the same. Like I don't know if you guys have ever been to an Afterlife. Like when one of the big
No.
visuals come on, it's the same thing. It's just like
Everyone, sea of
flood
phones.
Also like
of
that.
phones.
Yeah,
Wow.
man.
It's ridiculous. And
It's
I think
crazy.
like they do it on purpose to not have the visuals permanently because otherwise they're just playing to phones and not to
Yeah.
an audience, right?
Yeah, for real.
No, it's
Maybe
good.
they should do an endorsement with Apple at this point because that's a lot of product placement. Do you know what I mean? Apple and Samsung product placement. Guys, speaking of shows, another bit of news that popped up recently, which I'm sure you both know about, is that Dlala Tuksin has announced European tour dates. Now, to me, this is big. I'm a big fan of this guy, and I'm gassed that he's going to be in London, to be honest.
When is that?
Yeah.
When is he in London?
24th of May, he's going to be in London. He's also going to be in the UK 31st of May in Birmingham. And then I think he's in Amsterdam as well at some point.
My guy's going to be
heading
following
over to
him
Netherlands.
around the UK, bruv.
Bro, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
But he's big, bro. Like his last, I think, European date was in Dublin, Ireland, and he sold out in Dublin, Ireland. Like, can you believe that? Like
In Dublin.
you wouldn't expect
In Dublin, of all
in
places.
Dublin, bro.
No, Dublin's got a crowd though. Dublin's got a scene. Don't sleep on
Yeah.
Dublin. But yeah, still, it's like what the fuck, Dublin. But yeah, no, Dublin's got a crowd. Yeah, I'm
But
not
I
gonna lie.
wonder.
No, I was gonna say, I'm not the biggest Lala fan, but what he's doing, you have to praise. You have to
But I mean, I agree with you. But some things, I wonder if he'll make it to like I guess the mainstream circuit. Like the Istar or like Shalona or something like that. Or do you think his sound is
that's not him.
too
That's
tech,
not
right?
him.
I think it's a different
Yeah.
sound completely. I honestly
Bro,
think it's a different sound.
yeah.
That VIP sound is
That-
cool, don't get me wrong, but it's become more clear as we move on. And I mean, this is going to be the main topic of today as well, that style of Afro House is very different to the Afro tech that we know and
It's
love.
Beatport Afro House.
Yeah, man.
Let's call it
Yeah.
Beatport Afro House. Like,
Yeah, for real.
anybody with a laptop and a USB can play at those places, right?
Yeah.
Of course, only the top DJs get gigs there, but anybody that can mix two tracks and has got that selection, trust me, could play there. Like it's of course, to play there is a privilege and those are good places to play at, but the music that actually gets played, come on, it's not
Not the same.
it's not all that. It's not all that.
Yeah.
But it's more like, because he could also take the route of going commercial and then global circuits, endless possibilities, da 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 da. So I
Yeah,
wonder.
what track does he have that gets played in those places?
Not anything that I can think of really,
Exactly.
but bro, like
E-Plan
I
was
listened
played
to-
by Kind of Music once, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
There's a
kind
video
of
in South
music
Africa.
to play it. Yeah.
in South
In
Africa.
South Africa,
Oh.
exactly. But if you went to like
You know what I mean? Only in South Africa they played it. Come on now.
I still think that's a big banger though. That could have been as good. That could have been as big as Osama. Well, I think it arguably is, but in South Africa. But bro, this guy's got tracks. Like I came across Dlala Tuksin in 2022. A track he did a remix of A Samba. You know A Samba?
Yeah.
Did a remix of that on Finally Famous, his album Finally Famous, and that's when I came across this dude, and I went back and looked through his catalog, and I was like, wow, I have never seen somebody produce so much music, and it's pretty much all good. Like they're all bangers. You could play a
high
set
quality.
with Lala Tuksin and it would go off. Yeah, really good quality stuff. But as time has come on, I feel like he's got more access to better studio engineers or better studio equipment and just a more optimal situation for making music, and you can see the improvement in his sound, and it's like that last 5 or 6% that makes it different. It's the icing on the cake. So
Is he Afro House though? Is he Afro House?
I wouldn't say
No,
so.
he's not.
I'd say
He's more
I'm
like-
not gonna try and say it, but
Yeah,
Come.
he's not Afro House.
Come.
yeah.
He's not Afro
What
House.
was that, Manu?
Com. Radar com in the comments.
You
Let
gotta
us
do the
know.
clip.
Yeah, guys, send us a video of you saying it. Yeah, and the best ones we'll repost to our story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if
my God.
if you know how to say it, teach us. If you don't know, give it a go.
Yeah,
Right,
man.
last bit of news, because I think this one's very relevant, and we've got to give a shout out to the guys we did last time. Something I'm very excited for tonight. Also on that topic, happy birthday to Louis Dunmore, because
Happy
he
birthday.
will be celebrating, as I know, or as I believe, at Sondela tonight at Steelyard.
Wait. Hold on.
It's a Sondela day. It's a Sondela
Isn't
day.
it? isn't it Anthony James' birthday as well?
That's
what?
on Monday.
Oh,
It's not
Okay.
yet.
That's
But
okay because yeah, it's fine.
I'll be
By the time
celebrating as
people
well.
listen to this, by the time people listen to this, it'll be your birthday, right? Your birthday would have gone.
True,
So,
exactly.
True.
AJ, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Tonight,
you very much, guys.
we get lit tonight, bro. We get lit tonight.
Listen,
Liddy.
man, I've got to prepare myself for the weekend. I've got some antics with family on Sunday, so and I'm with some friends and family tomorrow as well. So we got some things to do, man. But tonight, I'll see you there. I'll see you there, Manu. I'll see you there about 1 o'clock because I know you're working till 12:30. But
Man, that's gonna be an unbelievable show. Like, I don't know if you guys saw any clips from their show in Greece. They did. I think it was like on Wednesday.
yeah,
Crazy.
I just saw
bro.
that today on Instagram. Actually, it looked insane.
Oh my god, man. Those guys are gonna absolutely destroy this evening.
I've never seen them play together. Honestly,
Me neither.
in my head, it's always Inunapa and Caro anytime I've seen him do a back-to-back. So it's going to be interesting to see his energy with Da Capo, because from what I've seen on the videos, we're talking like lit. It's not just mediocre stuff. These guys go in. So I'm very excited about
They have their own theatrics that like no one else
I
does.
feel like with obviously it's different, but with the capo, the capo is more techie, right? Deeper, more on the low end, darker. More for me, honestly. But of course, with Caro, yeah, you can't really pick one. But yeah, it's definitely two different types of sounds. Of course, very similar. But yeah, tonight we're breaking everything, man.
breaking everything. This thing is broken.
This thing is broken.
Oh man. Okay. Well, look, guys, this is what everyone's been waiting for, the meat of the conversation. It's great to have a catch up, but here we get to the good stuff. And it's a very interesting topic that we've chosen today. It's something that a few people have asked us about. It's something that I think the three of us have wanted to speak about for a while as well. And there's two questions that come to mind here. So I'll say what they are and we'll start with the first question. So the first question is, what do we believe makes Afro House? And the second question is, based on the Beatport top 10, do we think Afro House is being represented in the correct way? So we'll start with the first question. What do you guys believe makes Afro House as a genre?
What makes Afro House as a genre? African electronic inspired sounds, right? It's a feeling, man. It's a feeling. I think for me, when I hear Afro House, when I listen to an Afro House track, whether it's by a Cairo or an Enme, Black Coffee, whoever it may be, you hear the vibe, you hear the kind of ancestral inspiration in there, right? There is some kind of spiritual feeling that you get with that track. There's a purity, there's a patience to it. Yeah, to me that is Afro House, right? You kind of feel connected to I don't know, ancestors. You feel connected to people that came before you. Spiritual, man. For me, it's very spiritual music, and people like Afro House because you're able to dance, right? Be entertained, but at the same time, really connect with, I guess your spirit, really connect with your soul, right? So for me, that is what Afro House is, right? It's that type of sound where you can dance, you can go hard, but at the same time, if you want to chill, you can. That's how I see it. I mean, today for me, it's more towards that dance, be entertained spectrum, not really that soulfulness, not really that patience, pure sound. It's really coming through. But let me stop there. I've got more to say, but let's get into it.
Bro, so let me leave some space.
Yeah, bro. Like,
Wes, what about you, bro? I know
Man,
you're a
it's
purist as well, so
yeah, like there's when you ask the question, like my thoughts are like, are you asking from a technical like perspective, like certain instruments, certain sounds that I mean there are some, and I'm not a technical musician, so I wouldn't really be able to pinpoint, but I have to agree with Manu. It's about those those sounds and that melodies and drums all coming together to really like like nurture your soul as a listener, as a dancer, as somebody consuming that sound. It's different to any other genre that I find, and that's really what I think it is. But yeah, I think it is. There's something raw about the genre in general as a sound, but something so like beautiful and delicate like on top of that rawness. And like for me, that's really what pure Afro house is, and it has been for a long time, right?
yeah, I agree, man. I agree with everything that both of you said, honestly. And Wes, I think you touched on a good point. Is it from a technical perspective or is it from a feelings perspective? From a technical perspective, for me, I mentioned earlier about delving into Afro House and Afro tech production and really trying to understand what it is that makes the Afro House, authentic Afro House and Afro tech sound. And honestly, from someone who hasn't lived in SA or grown up in SA, I've just sort of almost adopted the culture and found this love for this sound. I thought it was important that I figure that out. It's something that I don't think I'll ever naturally have. It's I could be a Ronaldo, but I couldn't be a Messi. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the best way I can explain it. You can learn it, but I think it
That's a
takes a
good.
lot of learning and a lot of hard understanding and really delving into the history of the sound. The thing that really stood out to me was rhythms and placements of certain instruments. It's not so much the instruments that are used because I think that allows for creativity, but specifically the rhythms that are used. People go, oh, polyrhythms and it's clapping offbeat. It's not that, because you could do so many things that are offbeat that don't sound anything like
Yeah.
Afro House or Afro Tech. So it's really figuring out where the specific nuanced sounds are. And that for me comes from the history of Afro House, Afro Tech, Kwaito, Gom, all of that stuff that we're talking about. So that is for me what makes it. When I hear stuff nowadays that goes into the region of is it Afro House, it's really missing the rhythms that make your shoulders move, that make you want to dance. Do you know what I mean? That make you move a certain way in front of the decks when you're performing that music.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you know why though, bro? Because the music nowadays is very loopy, and in the production phase, I think what people are tending to do is, they're just putting loops and just stacking them up and stacking them, next to each other, and they're not
Yeah.
really letting that feeling, letting that touch, that soulfulness come through, right? So because you're kind of fast tracking that process and just like putting, a bunch of samples next to each other, that feeling, right? That creativity, that history that is Afro House, right? You're jumping steps.
Bro, the
You're not
history
spending
that is
time.
Afro. Sorry, go on.
You're not gonna go on, go on. Or you.
I was gonna say the history that's Afro House is like no disrespect to anyone, but it's rich architecture. And what we're hearing nowadays is Lego bricks. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's just stacked on top of each other. This goes there, that goes there, this goes there. The history of Afro House is rich in its architecture and how it was built and how it was created. I mean, look, if you guys don't mind, I went onto Wikipedia just as a go-to because I've seen it get updated recently, and I'm wondering who's updating it. But if you search what is Afro House on just on Wikipedia, if any of the artists who are making Afro House today did that, I think they'd see a very different definition to what they believe it to be. So if you can allow me a minute and a half, if that's okay, I wrote a very
Yeah.
quick summary of what I believe Afro House is. Can I read it?
Yeah.
Take it
Okay.
away. Floor is yours.
Right. So this is what I got from my studies online. Afro House is a subgenre of house music originated in South Africa during the 1990s and was championed by influential figures such as Black Coffee, DJ Fresh, DJ Tira, Zakes Bantwini, Da Capo, Boosie, Kulo De Song, Shimza, Inu Napa, and Black Motion. It became popular across Africa through artists like Big Nuz, DJ Cleo, Liquid Deep, Oskido, and Heavy K, aka the drum boss. Shout out to him. And his development was influenced by pre-existing genres like soulful house, deep house, tribal house, and most importantly, Kwaito. All of this leading to the addition of the Afro prefix to signify its African roots. Despite occasional misconceptions with other genres like Afrobeats and UK funky house, Afro House maintains a unique identity, blending traditional house elements with Kwaito, Bakanga, deep tribal rhythms, and a diverse linguistic landscape. Timeless supporters of the genres also include Osunlade, Lou Vega, Pablo Fiera, Dark, Jeff, Hyena, Rancido, Floyd Levine, and Body Satva. And while their backgrounds and musical styles may differ, their common characteristics is a love and respect for the origins of the sound. Very important point there. Over the past decade, the introduction of the genre across Europe and North America has led to its increased popularity, attracting a wider audience and artists who attempt to shape and innovate the genre into a westernized definition of Afro House that we see today. That's what I took away from everything that I
Wait. We need to find out who this person is, because that last line.
That's me.
Jeez, I'm
me.
here
I
for the
wrote
tea.
I wrote all of this.
Okay. I thought it was Wikipedia. Okay.
So no, I looked on Wikipedia. I looked on a few other websites that I found that went into the history. I had a look through Spotify and looked through a bunch of old South African house records.
Okay, but let me ask you, bro. That last line, is that all you, or was that information taken from?
That last line.
I only care about that last line.
That last line was not taken from anyone else. I'm gonna make a very solid claim to that because that's what I believe anyway. I know it's T.
It's T, bro. It's T. That's
T.
Yeah, that is T. Okay, talk to me about that last line then. Because
Manu's moving like a therapist. Tell me what that last line means for you.
No, but that's the conversation, I think, in itself, right?
Yeah, I think that last line for me is, like I said, is it grown in popularity across North America and Europe. There's no doubt about that at all. And I think naturally, as something moves further away from its source, there's more chance of it being or sort of losing elements. It's like genetics. The further that you move down a genetic line, the more diluted the genetics are going to become naturally.
But
especially as you cross continents. Go on, Wes.
I'm gonna throw in something here. I was having this conversation yesterday evening, right? So this whole thing about westernization and that last sentence, right? I mean, it is happening, and we've covered it plenty in previous podcasts. But what I want to bring into the discussion is like Afro beats, right? Which is from West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, those kinds of places. But it hasn't taken that same kind of route, even though there was some UK collaborations and stuff. But the core of the sound remained the same. It's so why do you guys think it's different than that?
Afrobeats.
Honestly,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't called
Afrobeats is
Afrobeat.
different to Afro House. You're saying Afro House has been taken and it's been made more westernized,
and it's been
Afrobeats
rinsed, right?
But you know why,
Yeah.
bro? Because Afrobeats, people have to sing, so you have to actually perform your song.
Right.
That is why. That is
Fair
why you
enough.
can't change that. Because as an artist, you have to perform it, you have to sing it, you have to act it out. So it's you can't have 100 people just pressing a button and DJing.
Yeah.
With Afrobeats, only the Vito can sing and perform the track. Wizkid can't take a DeVito track. You can't. And I'm not gonna say producing is easier than actually singing, but it's a lot easier to, arrange something on the laptop rather than acting it out. That is
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
performing it.
hide
No,
behind
I hear
that.
you. I hear you. I
Yeah,
think that
man.
makes sense. And do you know what? It's interesting because it's similar with Amapiano as well. Like that's a genre that has originated in South Africa and spread out to the world and been given its grace to grow as it is without any sort of additions being needed. I mean, you see a little bit of stuff being added to it in the UK, but for me, I don't know, man. I think that Afro House as a name for a genre has become so popular that people use it as this sort of shortcut to get their track into an arena or sphere where it's recognized as good because that's how hot Afro House became. So I think some of the definitions, like some of the other genres that I mentioned in there, soulful house, deep house, tribal house, Kwaito, a lot of people probably don't even know what Kwaito is to go and look into it in the
No,
first place.
definitely not.
And I don't think that the influences of the sound have are received in the same way. I think it's a beautiful thing. Let me not get that twisted. That it is being received worldwide, but I don't think like the original influences are received in the same way and given as much credit from sort of day one, which is part of the reason why I think that it's become so easy to westernize it. I could put a pad, a synth, an arp, couple of drums, and a drum loop from West African drums on native instruments and call my track Afro House, and nobody's going to disagree with me, really.
Yeah, but again, it's like it goes back to that point. It's like the guys of today, right, that are, from, that region, like that are still touring, like a Jeff, a Cairo, a Da Capo. They took influence of those guys that were big back in the day, like a Master KG, Kulo Du Song, DJ Fresh. Like they're taking inspiration from those guys. And now there's like another step in that. Okay, now these younger guys who are, you know, Western, they're taking inspiration from, you know, not the top level, but like now the other guys who are popping off, and what they're seeing is Afro House. So it's like just this like broken telephone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, what I find interesting is I still believe in subgenres, and I think this is where this conversation was naturally going to lead. But I find it very interesting that there's this sort of unspoken genre called Afrotech. You don't really see it used anywhere official on digital platforms or anything, but we all know what Afrotech is if we talk about Afrotech. I think that genre
yeah.
was created by its sort of pioneers, the Inu Nappers of Black Coffees, who really started making Afrotech because they recognized it was a very different sound to this more soulful, uplifting Afro house that was the original sound. So for me, it's kind of like there needs to be, it doesn't have to be official. It doesn't need to be anybody signing this. I hereby declare this sound as European Afrotech, nothing like that. But there needs to be some sort of definition of man who's laughing. But there needs to be some sort of definition that we can call
I
this
can be that
music. But
person. I don't
think it's
care. I
right.
can be that person. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be that person and you know, figure out what we need to do to make that happen. But I don't know. I think, listen, anybody can make Afro House, right? Anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you
Absolutely.
are, who you are.
Yeah,
Anybody
that's not
can
the
make
point.
Afro House. Anybody can
Yeah,
make music.
100%.
Like that's you know, that's period. Let's start there. But I think at the same time, you know, we can't keep saturating it because I think there's a lot of that is happening right now. There's a lot of, you know, people are just kind of jumping stages. They're not really spending the time to really learn about the sound. Again, Asia, you mentioned Kwaito, you mentioned different, you know, elements of the sound
Subgenres.
that people, subgenres and elements of the sound that people need to know. Not just because, you know, that's what you need to make Afro House, but that's what you need to just kind of be more creative, make better music, and be a better producer, right? It's all of these things which come under this patience umbrella that is needed and that is
Yeah.
not there today. I think it's not it's not at the level it should be. But I just want to
Yeah,
say
man.
anybody can make music, right? Don't take this conversation as,
You have to
Afro
be
House can only be
African.
you have to be African to make
Absolutely.
Afro House. No, that's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because I feel like if you earlier parts of the conversation may have alluded to that, but yeah, it's not the point. Like there's tons
Yeah.
of people who are not and who understand like a Pablo Fierro. I mean, but he's obviously been in the game for a while. But yeah, I think the point is just not to copycat for a quick win. It's
Yeah.
like do your research, understand, and then like I just think the quality of your sound is going to be all the more better like in the long term, right?
Do you know
Just
what as
because
well?
like you
Go on,
no
bro.
go
Sorry,
on.
bro. I keep interrupting. I need to turn my
But
volume
also,
up.
you know what you're noticing?
I
I'm
forgot
gonna I'm
already,
gonna
man.
mention something. I'm gonna mention something as well. I'm not gonna mention any names, but this is what's happening and what will happen more. New producers that claim to be making Afro House, slowly but surely, you're gonna see them veer off into other genres like melodic house, techno, deep house, whatever. They're starting with Afro House because it's hot, but because they, haven't done the research, they haven't really learned about it. Naturally, they're gonna be pushed into other genres just because, you know, that is actually what they know. But they're doing Afro House now because it's trendy, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it happen now.
And bro, I
Yeah,
think
that's a
look,
good
so there's some key points there as well. About like Afro House spreading. This is not something that I'm saying where I think that Afro House should become stuck in this time trap of like non-evolution or anything. But as an artist or a producer who's not from Africa, the Afro is there and was put there because it's music from Africa. So as an artist or producer who's not from there, you need to maintain that you're giving credit and respect to the sound and make sure that it's not just becoming this marketing tactic that you use to popularize this sort of westernized sound that really has nothing to do with the original genre.
yeah.
Do you get what I
I
mean? It
think
has to
I
have
think
some elements that at least relate to it. And I think
yeah.
that genuinely comes from education and understanding and learning about where the root of the sound is. And at that point, make what you want. Like, but if I ask you who are your favorite Afro House artists and your only answer is Black Coffee and kind of music, that's your
Yeah.
history of what you know of the sound. You have a lot of
I think
learning to do.
I think there's another problem that goes along with it. It's not only about following like, something that's trendy and hopping on the train. It's also like, from a competitive point of view, like if you're trying to get into like a top chart on a Beatport track source, if you're trying to get into a playlist on Spotify, right? In theory, it's a little bit easier to get your song charting in an Afro House, you know, playlist or chart versus like if I go after like and try to compete with like in a deep house or a melodic techno and things like that. So I think a lot of people are consciously doing it as a business decision, just as a publicity like.
Yeah,
That
but it's the
sucks
hottest
if
thing
you're
at the
doing that.
moment.
I think if you're doing that and you know your track is an Afro House, I'm gonna say you're a loser. Do better. That's what I'm saying. You're a loser.
He's
You're a
just coming
loser.
for you
You know
guys.
your music sucks and you can't put it in the deep house genre. You know it's gonna suck in the deep house genre, so you put it somewhere where it doesn't belong in an attempt to try
But
and make it more popular. Question
We're
yourself.
getting to that stage of the podcast,
yeah,
guys,
but
when AJ
then
Well,
loses his
in the
temper.
words of
yeah, but
Michael Jordan, go and get some help.
yeah, but then the question is, who in those music platforms is that gatekeeper and lets you track on those genres, right? You know what I mean? I think that
Yeah.
that is also a responsible role, that holds a lot of power, right? Because as an artist, all I can do is upload the track and label it whatever
Yeah.
genre I choose. But if I'm making I don't know, heavy metal track and I want to put it in rap, whoever is behind on that back end of that website has to listen to it and be like, oh no, this is not, this should
Yeah.
be this, So I think there's also that layer of filtering and approval
Yeah.
that needs to be questioned as well.
Well, I think that leads
Yeah.
us on to the next question, onto the second question nicely, because time is ticking. And before things get too heated, why don't we head to the second question, which is based on the Beatport top 10, do you think that Afro House is being represented in the right way? So I think I sent you guys the current top 10 as it stands. And it's a very interesting top 10, in my opinion.
Let me open it up. Let me open it up. What we got? What we got? What we got?
Let's get it up. Everyone get it up. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do this, because ideally for the listeners at home, it would be good for them to hear what we're talking about.
Why don't you list them off, AJ, just quickly?
Okay, so number 1 is Amana, Maj and Vision. Number 2 is a track called Taka by... Are we going to label them as we go, yeah?
No, just fire off.
Okay. Track number 2 is Taka by Skrillex. I Had a Dream, Priya Ragu and Contra. Skrillex and Afro House. Yeah. Number 3.
Afro House legend, bro.
Revo remix. We all know that track by Disclosure. Revo did a remix, blowing up. Number 4, Buscando Money by Hugel. Jesus Fernandez remix. Number 5, Famax, Rafa Guido. I believe that came out on Moblack Records. Number 6, Give Me Something to Hold, Jack Back and Temba's new track, which just dropped. For anybody who doesn't know, Jack Back is David Guetta's alias. Number 7, Corpo e Canchao, Maj again. Number 8, Baiana, Space Motion. Number 9, Bezo, Fruta Fresca. And that's by Carlos Vives and Wacky, and I have to admit I'm not even really sure how that goes. And number 10 is Patadas de Ahogado. Excuse my awful accent. Again by Hugo. So
okay, first question. The Beatport top 10, is it top 10 selling, right? It's top 10 selling tracks.
Top 10,
Yeah,
that's what I believe it to be. Top 10 selling track.
Yeah. Okay, so it's top 10 selling tracks. Okay.
But not to
For me,
it's not to shade Beatport, by the way. It's just to say, should these tracks be in the Afro House genre in the first place?
again,
You know, something that's like very on surface level apparent about a lot of this is there's definitely a Latino sounding influence in that chart, which often does bleed over. I mean, obviously Maj, Rafa Guido, Hugo as well. I mean, Miami based, but very like influenced by Latino kind of like sounds. So that's something
you
I've
mean
thought
Latina
about
girls?
a lot. Is like, you know,
Man like
stay
Hugo.
focused, man. Stay focused.
What's it? Stay focused. No, I agree, bro. You know, I just counted
That was
it.
true.
Out of 10 tracks, 7 of the tracks out of 10. And look, I understand that there is a very rich diaspora of African roots that spreads out across the world, as well as, don't want to get political, but given the history of the continent, there's been a lot of influence from other countries, whether that's European, South American, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know, it's kind of weird to me that 7 of the top 10 tracks in the Afro House genre are either Spanish or Brazilian.
Yeah.
And then 2 is European.
Top 10
I mean,
selling.
the only presence of an like, let's just go back to this quickly. Top 10 selling. We mentioned that Afro was put in front of Afro House to represent that it was house music from Africa. This is not to say you have to be African, but there's only one African in that chart that I can see, and that's Temba on a feature with.
Yeah, but also, I see what you're saying, but also for me, it's like these are crowd-pleasing tracks. Again, going back to top-selling tracks. I don't know, is Afro House being represented here? Of course not, right? That's not. None of these tracks we probably will hear tonight at the Capo Ino Napa show. probably I would argue maybe Amana, but even that
Yeah.
one, would they play that? I don't know.
Not their style. I'd be surprised. But
And I want
anyway,
to say this as well. This is no shade, like I said, on Beatport or the artist, because if you ask me who one of my favorite artists is of the past 12 months, we spoke about this the other day, 100% it would be Maj. I'm a huge fan of everything that he's put out. It's almost as if I kind of accept it being an Afro house because of the structure of the music and the style of it. But when we think about that compared to E-Plan by Dlala Tuxin, or do you know what I mean, a Summer, do we really feel like it's Afro house? Probably not. It doesn't mean that it's not good music.
yeah. But there's something that I have to bring up, right? It's like I'm not pleased with the representation here at all, but you know, Beatport is a platform for not your everyday listener, and it's also expensive for the average person, right? So I was talking to August yesterday, right? And his latest track, Basquiat, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
His remix, Basquiat,
Shaki.
his remix of that track, he's like, it's not performing well on Spotify, it's not performing well on Apple Music, it's doing nothing on Beatport. And he went to the label being like, yo guys, what the hell is going on? And they're like, you don't understand how big your track is in Nigeria, but they're using a platform called AudioMac, right? Because the average demographic of who can pay for, you know, a Beatport or a Spotify varies by where you are in the world, right? So, you know, the average Nigerian really can't afford, like, you know, to buy every track on Beatport. Even a Spotify membership for the average Nigerian is pushing it a lot. So it's also like that financial separation.
That is
I
a
think
great
also
point.
impacts.
So you're saying the
Very good
people that
point.
are using Beatport, yeah, it's a certain audience, a certain type of user.
Yeah,
That is a great point. That is a great point. That is a great point.
That is
like
where's 10 out of 10? That is, I think that's the moment of the podcast, because I'll be honest with you, that's not even something that I had considered.
shout out to August, man.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to
Shout out to August. Shout out to you, Wes, for bringing that up. That's a
But
very
this is like I like Wes, man. Wes is operations ops guy. Wes is ops, bro. Wes is ops. Wes is stats. Wes is always, you know, has to look behind the veil and see. Yeah, but why? You know, I like Wes, man. Wes my guy.
Yeah, bro. That's just me, man. That's just me. So, I mean, look, I think like Beatport is one thing, and I mean, this is not right. Like, it just really isn't. And we all know like who should be there week in, week out. I mean, I do give Amana top spot right now. I think that's fair. But everything else, we
I mean,
should
look, I skimmed through some of these tracks, and for me, within all of that top 10 that we've just discussed, I could easily relocate those tracks to other genres where I believe they fit much better without it being any sort of disrespect to the tracks themselves. There's a couple in there that 100% should be in tech house. There's one or two in there that should definitely be in deep house. And then a few that should be in melodic, without a doubt, in my mind. So even just doing that, for me, just looking now, then there's a couple that should be in EDM as well. Like, so one,
Yeah, for
two,
sure.
3, 4, 5 of those tracks, I believe, could move to other genres where they fit more appropriately. And I have no doubt that the artists that have created those, I would love to speak to them face to face and see them say to me, no, it's definitely Afro House, because I think they know full well that it's not. So for
Yeah,
that,
I
in
agree
that,
with you.
in that being said, I think if you did that throughout the Beatport top 100, you'd make space for so many other actual Afro House or Afro Tech tracks to be sitting and given their flowers, so to speak. But I guess what this leads us to is, who do we go to then to get a real, or for the listeners at home, where can they go to get a real accurate representation of something like a top 10 or a top 100 chart?
Manu's top 10 right now.
Yeah, Plug
I was
yourself,
going to
man.
say I've
Go
got
for
one
it,
as well,
bro.
but maybe we should do one
Go
for,
on.
for the listeners. Maybe we should do a top 10 for the
Yeah.
listeners, a no guest list top 10. Maybe it's time, guys.
Hey, let's do it.
I think it is, man, because it's also like there's also business behind all of this, right? It's like, okay, these artists could choose to release it under Afro House because they know that the size of the audience they have, it's gonna chart, and they can say I'm on the charts. But there's also dealings, between labels and Beatport, dealings between labels and Spotify, so
Yeah. It's not
money also moves in silence in this scene, right? It's like I can guarantee you 60% of that top 10 was paid for by a label or an artist to have it there. I'm telling you right now.
You can see when it says hype next to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exclusive.
It's in the hype chart. Guys, I think we should do that in all seriousness. And I mean, look, while we're on the topic of playlists, because we are getting to the top of the hour, for those of you guys at home who are listening, who think you know Afro House and you're not up to date on the origins of Afro House and the genres that we mentioned earlier, I've taken it upon myself. I've gone ahead and created a playlist for everyone. And this is not to say go and copy the music or try and replicate it exactly, but draw some inspiration from it, because I know that I personally learned a hell of a lot crate digging and finding all of these tracks to put in a compilation. Some of them I knew, some of them I just discovered. I've actually made a playlist called Afro House Origins, and it's full of many historical Afro House tracks, Kwaito tracks, soulful house, the kind of stuff that was really big in SA when the genre started booming. So I'm gonna put that out for everyone.
Yeah.
It's free.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we
Good
do
on
that?
you.
So
Good on
in
you.
our link in bio, we're gonna have Manu's top 10. We're gonna have Afro House Origins by Anthony James, and we'll have Afro House Feats playlist. How about that, guys?
Perfect. I think
we
that's
go.
a very
Source
that's
of
a I
truth.
think that's a gift for it to all be in one place. See, Wes again, the operations guy.
Oh, it's perfect.
We're just gonna call you Ops Wes from now on.
Hey, man. That's how.
Oh
that's just
man.
me.
All right, guys. Look, we've got a few minutes before we close off. I feel like I've really enjoyed that conversation, man. I'm glad we were able to talk about it. I hope everybody else has enjoyed it as well. But before we
Another
go,
good one.
should we quickly just preview any tracks that have dropped today? Seeing at the time of recording, this is a Friday, so this is a new day for music, and April, May is one hell of a month, man, and we got some good music coming out. So anything that's really caught your guys' attention today?
I mean, yeah, today's Friday, April 26th. Who dropped today? Night Freak, Ezizweni remix.
Yep.
On Sundela. But for me, I have to give it to Pipisiers and Chuku, Final Chapter.
Yeah.
That was released on Madoris in the House compilation. I think it's like Volume 5, Part 2. A bit confusing. Volume 5, Part 2. But Madoris. Madoris, nice compilation out today. So yeah, for me, it's Pippi. He actually sent it to me a few weeks back. Yeah, like when you're busy and you listen to something and it's kind of, you move on
skim
from
it.
it.
Yeah.
But today yeah. But today I was like, yeah, this is actually it. So yeah, shout out to Pippi.
I love that track, man.
Pippi's the
Shout
guy.
out to Pippi.
Pippi's the guy.
Yeah.
Pippi is an OG as well, man.
Also, one that dropped today. There's two that dropped today that caught my eye. One is Comeza, came out on Deep Root Tribe. Who is that? It's Starving Yet Falls on the vocal, but
Yeah.
the vocals vocaling are very, 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 very good. Sensational stuff. And then the other one that I'm super excited about, I haven't even had a chance to listen to it properly yet, but I'm really excited to play it out as well. Asem Benny, Tandy Dre, and Seal Assad teaming up again, because I don't know if you guys know.
That was my track. That was my
it?
track.
Bro,
Yo,
since they
like,
collabed 2020
Yeah.
on Lom Laba, I'm excited to see what these guys are doing again, because I love that track. I'll play that today.
That was your track when you remember when we were doing that post? That was your track.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, man.
bro.
Yeah. I love that track. So seeing them team up again, woo! I'm excited.
Yeah. It's a lovely track. I mean, I have to mention the Africa Deep today just because, community's gemstone. Good to see him releasing. Good to see him releasing on a label like One People. So yeah, go show some love, guys. Go
Yeah.
show some
And
love.
also, both the tracks on there are fire. But I played Feel the Love in one of my gigs last week. In fact, no, it was on Wednesday. I played it. Very, very good response from the crowd, man. A lot of people enjoying that one. And lastly, just before we close off, do you guys, Drift Franklin just put out a couple of weeks back, put out an EP on Pow Pow. He's got a
Oh
track
my God,
that he
Love
sent me.
Chronicles.
No, was that what it's called?
I think it's called the EP is called Love Chronicles, isn't it?
Yeah, the one with Stupid Love, and I think the other track's
Yeah.
called Take Me Away or something. But he sent me a track called Kanisa that he's working on, and I've been hounding this guy, please send it to me, please, please, please send it to me. He said he's going to send it today. He got the masters done. Keep an eye on Drift Franklin. It's
Yeah,
one of
man.
my favorite tracks that I've heard in a very long time, like real fire. So keep an eye on that.
tough.
Also, shout out to Vanko. He dropped his edit of Tyler's Water today, right?
Water.
Yeah, he did. He
Which
did.
is sick.
I wish he got the official clearance for that, man, because I think it deserved it,
Yeah, I have to agree. Actually, it's one of my favorites of that. I've heard a lot of Water remixes, but that one's doing it.
Yeah, his is the one, man.
All right, guys. Well, look, thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, it's been a pleasure on our end. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button if you can. We'd really appreciate it. And this conversation always extends to every single one of you who wants to listen and get involved and be part of it. So feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion for topics that you'd like us to discuss in the next show. And you can message any of us on our socials. They'll be around here somewhere. And yeah, if you ever have any comments to make or suggestions, drop us a DM. That's it for this week. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Peace.